Farmers have historically been the keepers of the seed and have been the plant breeders. Many of the varieties, for instance, in the Oscar Will catalog, were varieties that were accessed from people, native peoples. They were indigenous to this landscape, and native people had been cultivating them for hundreds of years.
The seeds were harvested in the fall, along with all the other, with the corn and the squash and the other vegetables. I used to watch my mother do this. She would select the strongest, firmest, straightest ears and set them aside. And like with the corn, they were specific for specific purposes. There was a softer corn that they used and they ground. And when they ground that up, when it was ripe, they would roast it and then grind it and put it with tallow and berries, choke cherries or June berries. The choke cherries they'd be ground up to, and they'd make corn balls. And those were food for when they went out and lasted them throughout the winter.
The selection process that we have done has been nothing more than what farmers and gardeners have done for millennia, and really is the base for all of the good food crops that we have today, is all the work that was done before us.
Basically what I do on this farm is I grow and evaluate fresh vegetables, and I also run a small seed business, primarily heirloom seeds, and then more recently focusing on garden seeds on contract to seed companies and seed catalogs.
We developed seed production, organic vegetable seed production. It's been a passion of mine for many years, gardening and saving seeds, and I had developed some varieties in our garden, and so we just went with that.
As we develop more local and regional food systems and address the issues of food security, we also need to address the issues of seed security. That is, in fact, where our food comes from.
So if I'm thinking, if my farm is to be sustainable, where the seeds come from is the number one thing that I'm thinking is a key to lead to sustainability. I'm not saying every farmer needs to raise his own seeds, although at one point in time that was a very common practice right where we're at out here in the prairies. Everybody saved their own seeds. If you look at all the old farmsteads, there's granaries and there's seed cleaners in those. But typically with the consolidation in the seed industry, not only in cereal grains but in vegetables and everything else, there's been less seed saving, and some of that's due to patenting and laws that we have to abide by too. So I think one good way to look to be sustainable then is to be able to have seeds adapted and be able to continue, because that farm can continue if you can continually harvesting seeds.
There was a time when seeds weren't patented, and it's really only fairly recent that they have been able to patent seeds or any life form. And my fears have been realized that it has resulted in consolidation in the seed industry and less choice for consumers.
Seed is relegated to being bought and sold, period. It cannot be shared, it cannot be saved, it cannot be freely distributed, and it denies people social, political, and economic access to seed.
I think it's very important to preserve the genetics found in older varieties. I think a lot of the old varieties of vegetables set the standard for quality, taste, and nutritive value, storability, all the things that were valued in times past. If, as seed growers, seed selectors, seed savers, if we focus on those things, that produces good food for healthy bodies, for healthy spirits, and what more as a human community could we ask of our food? I think that's just a great thing to strive for.
How about this one right over here? I want that one. Can you pick it for me? Wow, thank you.
Well, that's for eating lunch.
Yum!
traditional gardening of the Nuada or Mandan is almost gone now. There are elements of it left, and it'll just become an historical artifact.
The ideal situation would be to have all of our families again have gardens. And I think many, many, many people do. But a lot of us are raising contemporary seeds. And I really believe that it'd be great to have another garden of traditional seeds. But again, you have to worry about cross-pollinations. You have to worry about all the fertilizers that are being used by the farmers. You know, there's a lot of things that are negative when it comes to our traditional seeds, and we have to be aware of that. And I am encouraging all of our Indian people, if you have seeds, to dig them out. You know, see if they're good. You know, don't put them all in the ground, but put half of them in there maybe. You know, some of my earliest seeds are, the earliest seeds I have are listed as 1798 as my earliest batch I got, and I got 14 seeds. I haven't grown them any place, I'm scared.